my name is Sam. Thanks for checking out this video. If you get to the end and liked it, then subscribe, bell notification, give the video a thumbs up. So, TBR this month, game plan. I mean, still continuing to work from home, probably still going to continue to be on lockdown. In May, I was supposed to be going back to Toronto to go to the BTS concert, but that's been postponed because of, you know, Aunt COVID, that bitch. It's my birthday too, and we have a long weekend, so I'm taking a couple extra days off than what would normally just have the 2 weekends. So with that, plus the fact that I read a lot of books in April, I'm being super optimistic. And in May, in the TBR Beyond group, we're doing a middle grade May event. We normally do that. So I put together a lot of my middle grade books, and I'm hoping to get a good chunk of them done, as well as a few like really new releases that I have arcs of that I'm like, damn it, you didn't get to it. Or things that have just been on hold for a while at the library and are likely to come in. So yeah, the game plan for May. I'm really like, I need to make sure I actually get this one done. Seraphina and the Black Cloak by Robert Beatty. I have the first 3 books in this. I think it's a quartet. I caught it on Book Outlet like easily over 2 years ago, I'd have to say. So I actually have the rest of the series pulled to the side being like, don't forget, you need to read this, because if not, you just need to unhaul it, because this is getting ridiculous, girl. So, I know it's a New York Times best-selling series. I think it kind of came out when I was in university, so I wasn't doing any pleasure reading because I had no time. So, I'm hoping it's like, but I don't really want to haul them because they're so pretty underneath, like. Seraphina has never had a reason to disobey her pa and venture beyond the grounds of the Baltimore estate. There's plenty to explore in her grand home, although she must take care to never be seen. None of her rich folk upstairs know that Seraphina exists. She and her pa, the estate maintenance man, have secretly lived in the basement for as long as she can remember. But when children at the estate start disappearing, only Seraphina knows the culprit, a terrifying man in a black cloak. I mean, like, it's probably not the best time of year to be reading it. It's more like, sounds like a Halloween-y one, but at least if I read this and I know, okay, I like it, then I will read books 2 and 3 in like September, October. I think it's my, only? Or maybe one of two adult books I have on my TBR this month. The Midnight Queen by Sylvia Izzo Hunter. This is book 1 in a series that when I was at Book Outlet, I bought book 2. They didn't have book 1 available for purchase when I was there though. So I had grabbed it from my library before we went into lockdown. So I'm really hoping that I enjoy it. I know it's like magic-y, and I'm assuming the main character is like gets married in this or near the end of it because she's married to a professor in the summary of the second book. Yeah. Gray's deep talent for magic has won him a place at Merlin College, but when he accompanies 4 fellow students on the mysterious midnight errand that ends in disaster and death, he is sent away in disgrace, and without a trace of his power. He must spend the summer under the watchful eye of a domineering professor, working in the gardens of Calendar's country estate and hoping to recover his abilities. And it is there, twiddling away in the summer, that he meets the professor's daughter. Aww. So, I'm really curious about this. I want a little bit of some adult stuff, but nothing like super high fantasy or anything like that. I'm not totally sure if this is middle grade or YA, to be totally honest, but The Montague Twin, The Witch's Hand by Nathan Page and Drew Shannon. It's a graphic novel for fans of Lumberjanes and Paper Girls. Look no further, you will love The Montague Twins. It's an arc that I got at the conference that I went to in January. I think it's just like the twins and like a family member of them, a cousin, find a box and they go all witch detective-y, and I'm really curious about this. So, like, from the looks of it, I can definitely see the Lumberjanes connections with the artwork. So, I'm really curious to read it. I'm curious if it's going to be printed in full color publication, or if there's a reason why the beginning of it has some color and the after it's just black and white. Either way, I'm really curious. I also plan on picking up The Shrunken Head by Lorna Oliver and H.C. Chester. This is the first book in the Curiosity House. I think it's just a trilogy. I got all 3 books from Book Outlet in April. And it just sounded like a fun, weird, cool series. I liked the cover most especially. It reminds me a lot, it's like a mixture of like Winterhouse and Neil Patrick Harris's The Magic Misfits series. The book is about, among other things, the strongest boy in the world, a talking cockatoo, a faulty mind reader, a beautiful bearded lady, a nervous magician, an old museum, and a shrunken head. And I was like, well, that sounds kind of awesome. And it has some pretty decent ratings. And I looked and I was like, how does Lauren Oliver have so many rating credits? I don't understand that. I don't understand how I've read, like, I remember, she wrote Before I Fall, right? And, like, that's, like, all I recollect of her writing, but she has so many books in her backlog. Oh my god. I'm not totally sure if I got this in, no, I must have gotten it in April, too. I picked up book 3 of the Padova series, Arusha and the Tree of Wishes. I'm not like 100% like recollecting everything that happened at the end of the book 2 of this series, so I'm gonna go into it hoping like normally from what I remember, book 2 and book 1, like the characters are the same general, but like the plot itself, like there's a little bit of an overarching thing between the books, but each book seems to have its own like plot. So hopefully I will be okay. I love the like covers of this series so much. Rick Riordan does such a good job, even the Underdust Jack, to be totally honest. But yeah, I have book 3 and I plan on reading it, and I love Roshni Chokshi stuff. I just randomly impulse bought this. I don't know how long ago off of Book Outlet, but Circus Mirandus, and I saw like just recently that they did a sequel to it and they did a cover change, and I was like, God damn, why? This was so cool that the hat, and then when you lift that, it's a cutout, so that's like the Underdust jacket there. It's so cute. I love that. Micah's grandpa, Ephraim, has always told him wonderful stories about Circus Mirandus, a magical circus he visited when he was a boy. But now Grandpa is dying, terrible and grouchy. Great Aunt Gertrudis has arrived to take care of Mika. All the magic in Micah's childhood seems lost until Grandpa finally tells him the truth. The circus is real, and the Lightbender and the circus great magician owes Grandpa a miracle. So I'm assuming we're going to go try and find a way to save Grandpa, sorry. And it looks like there's some really pretty illustrations in there as well. So I'm really hoping that I like this because there is a sequel, but I'm also like, maybe I shouldn't like it because I'll just not buy a cover. I hate cover changes so much. Why do publishers do that? I have put off reading this long enough, out of just pure busyness. The 12 by Cindy Lynn. I know that there's another book coming out. I wanted to say this summer. It might have been delayed though because of COVID. But I love the cover. The cover of this, the colors, the illustration of it. It's so cute. To save her sister, she must fulfill her destiny. Usagi's breath was so shallow that she was dizzy. A priestess with the power of a tiger had manifested right before her. It was impossible to deny the truth with the 3 bandits. No heirs had been saying all along. The 12 had not completely been wiped out. A warrior still lived. These with zodiac powers were not alone after all. And it just sounds so much fun. I love the orangey, like peachy color on this especially though. It's so summery. But yeah, I really want to get this done. And I think one of the things I waited on was like, oh, are they going to do an audiobook? Because I love when they do audiobooks so that I can make sure I know how to pronounce characters' names properly, because this definitely has Asian influences, as well as just like children's middle grade books, like middle grade audiobooks especially, have been a lot more whimsical, like with background noises and everything. I love listening and following along. It's like a story time, whatever. So, but they haven't released an audiobook still, so I don't think it's coming. So I will get on this month, hopefully. I am also very happily going to be doing a reread of Ice Wolves. This is actually one of the group reads for the TBR and Beyond group this month, and it's book 1 of the Elementals. I have book 2, Scorched Dragons. I'm gonna probably pick that up in June or July. I just didn't think I was gonna be able to shove it in this month, and I remember loving how this book ended. I love the covers of the series too. And the 3rd book, I'm trying to remember what the name is, but I can't off the top of my head. It's supposed to come out this year too, and the cover is also very pretty. Maybe I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like, I'll probably look and see when the 3rd book is actually set to release, if there's been a date change at all, and then maybe read Scorched Dragons closer to that, or somewhere in the middle, so I have them spread out a little bit, because I really, really want to read the last book as soon as it comes out. I am also picking up Shadow School #1, Archimancy. This is by J.A. White. I absolutely adored Night Books, the book that he has other books, but Night Books is the only one that I've read by him before. So, but like, Underdust Jacket is so cool, and you can see all the ghosts. And the sequel is supposed to come out in September, I want to say, if I'm totally right. But Cordelia Liu and Benji Nunes can see ghosts. Together with their friends Agnes Matheson, they will discover why the Shadow School is the most haunted academy in America. And I feel like this just has a lot of elements of like Harry Potter that I enjoy, like the whimsical, like ghosts in a magical school. I also really hope to pick up Time Castaways: The Mona Lisa Key by Liesl Shurtleff. I think this series is called Time Castaways and this book is called The Mona Lisa Key, if I'm guessing, right? I know that the sequel has come out since I bought this, and I haven't read it yet. I really like this blue, like, purpley thing, but, I just know, yeah, that there's, like, some time travel and, like, museum and, like, oh, I think it specifies here, hold on. They wake up late on a school day, and their parents are out taking care of an emergency at the museum where they work. With no other way to get to school, the Hudson siblings board the 6 train in Manhattan and end up on a freight ship in Paris in the year 1911. Happens to us all, right? I have been eyeing this book for months, and I'm finally picking it up. The Star Thief by Litsy Becker. I know this was in the Owl Crate Juniors box, I don't know, however many months ago, but that was how I like found it. I don't really get book subscriptions anymore because of the currency exchange and shipping to Canada, as well as the fact that I just found I wasn't using a lot of the extra trinkets, and a lot of the items are repeats. I can only have so many like hand mirrors, and if they're not like consumable things like candles, then like they just stack up, and then like I only have so much space to do with artwork, right? So but I've watched for the books that they do have coming out. This was it, the adventure she'd always dreamed of. Honorin's life as a maid in Vidalia Mansion is rather dull, dusting treasures from faraway places and daydreaming in front of maps of the world. But everything changes when she catches two brutish sailors ransacking Lord Vidali's study, and then follows a mysterious girl with wings out into the night. That sounds like a really safe idea. But yeah, the stars are alive, and like I can see a lot of like there's a scorpion and everything on here, so I think it's gonna do with like the zodiac or something to do with that. I'm guessing. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I also plan on finally picking up The Jumbies by Tracy Baptiste. I'd never heard of it before, but I was placing an order, I don't know how long ago, on Book Outlet. My friend Melanie said she had just gotten it, and I think she's read it since, and she suggested I get it, so I got it because I needed help filling my cart. Behind her the bushes rustled. She turned just in time to see something move in the shadows. Surely it was not only an animal, but what if it was another kind of thing entirely? A Jumbie. And I think it's supposed to be set in the Caribbean, I want to say. I'm 99% sure. And I know that there is at least one sequel, and then there's another one that I don't know if it's a sequel or spin-off, but I'm really curious about this, and it's a pretty short book, so I can easily read this probably in the morning. The second book that we're reading in the TBR and BR group this month as well is Ghost Squad by Claribel A. Ortega. We probably, all the mods of us have been like eyeing and watching this book, and then an arc came into my office, I think. I just freaked out. Be prepared, respect the dead, always have a cat. I'll substitute a cat with my dogs because, yeah. For Lucy Luna, ghosts are more than just family businesses. Shortly after Halloween, Lucy and her best friend Sid cast a spell that accidentally awakens malicious spirits, wreaking havoc throughout St. Augustine. They must join forces with Sid's witch grandmother, Babette. I love that there's someone named Babette. That's just like such like a grandmother name. And her tubby tabby Chunk to fight the haunting head on, reverse the curse and save the town, and Lucy's firefly spirits before it's too late. It just sounds so much fun. I wish there had been illustrated. Mind you, I don't know if this is an arc. It could be illustrations or something in the last one, but this feels like because it is a smaller book too, that it would really be like so much not cooler, because I can't say if it was cool or not, but like to have like whoever did the artwork on the front do some like artwork in it. That would be really sweet. I have had an arc for The Miraculous by Jess Redmond for, I want to say, about a year now. I think I got it at the Jasper conference last year, and we normally have it at the same time, and ours just got canceled, and it was supposed to have been last week, I think, so it's been about a year now. It just looks like, I don't know, it just looks like it's gonna hurt my heart, but like, not like heartbreak, but like heart hugging and lifting, you know what I mean? Heartwarming, but heartbreaking? I don't know. 11-year-old Wonder Ellis is a miracologist. He has a book that he calls The Miraculous that he fills with stories and quotes and pictures and verses. The miracles fill Wonder with the feeling that he is not alone and that the world is magical and that he is a part of bringing brightness. But then his baby sister dies at 8 days old. And it can only happen that he can't believe in miracles anymore. So Wonder gets rid of the miraculous, and he stops believing. When Wonder meets Faye, an eccentric, outspoken classmate, she leads him to an abandoned house, an old woman who lives there. An old woman who may or may not be magical. And that just sounds like, I don't know. Maybe because it's probably, like, it sounds like it's going to be dealing with grief, but, like, I don't know. Super excited to pick up The Last Spell Breather by Julie Pike. I got this in, I think, February. I think it was supposed to be a December gift, but I don't know 100% know who from, and no one has said anything. But an enchanting story that cackles, but the main character is, she loathes the hours that her mother spends practicing spells and whatever, and then something happens, and the spells that protect her, like, town, like, crackle, and now they're, like, in harm's way, and she needs to protect them. And I just love this cover so damn much with the fox and I like the paperback little foiling, and like, oh, I'm just excited. I have an arc of the Fowl Twins by Ian Colfer, which has come out since, and I just want to try and give it a go. I know I've had some people tell me that you can read it without having like a super vivid memory of Artemis Fowl. I read Artemis Fowl as a child, but I don't know anything about it now. And so I think it's supposed to be Artemis's brother or something like that. So I've seen people say, oh no, you don't need the Artemis Fowl books to understand this. I've seen people who say like, oh no, you should. And I've seen people like, oh, you don't need it, but like it helps like you understand maybe some like back pieces. Like there's little gems thrown in for you to see or highlight. And I was like, okay, well, I'll figure it out when I start reading it and if I can follow the plot. So I'm picking this up. I'm also planning on getting to the Stormrunner. I think it's a trilogy. Yeah, the third book. There's a cover for the third book, but book 1 is out. I don't have a physical copy of it, but I have my library is on hold for it, an audiobook, I think. And then I have an Arc of the Firekeeper, which is the sequel, so I hope to enjoy the first book and then read the second book fairly quickly. I'm hoping that I really like it. It's required an imprint, so I'm yet to kind of be led astray by them. And I think it's supposed to be Mexican culture own voices, I want to say. I'm 99% sure it is. Maybe it'll specify later on it. Oh, Mayan gods. So, yeah. So, I hope I love them, and I really just need to... I don't know why people send sequels, arcs to us, but, like, I don't know how they keep track of whether they send arcs as, like, publishers and distributors, but, like, we've never received an arc for the first one, so, like... I plan on doing a reread of The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding, and then doing a regular read of The Last Life of Prince Alistair, because I have not read this. The audiobook for this one is fantastic. It was one of the best... Well, it's probably, yeah, it was the best audiobook that I listened to last year, so I'm gonna, I think, follow along with an audiobook for this one, so long as it's the same narrators, and I'm definitely gonna reread this via audiobook, follow along. The narration was, like, just, like, so on point and so good. Yeah. I'm also going to be picking up Queen of the Unwanted. My physical copy is going to take some time, I think, to physically get here. I have it pre-ordered at a steep discount when they had a sale, because it's an adult book, and so it's supposed to be shipped to the store. So they're not shipping anything to the store, and when I tried to switch where they ship to, they say, no, you have to cancel it and then reorder it, and I was like, alright, thanks. Thanks for being super helpful on that right now. So I have the audiobook, though, placed a hold on through the library, so I will listen to the audiobook. And when I get my physical copy, I get my physical copy. But I cannot wait, and it was a super steep discount to the point where I'm like, no, I'm not canceling that and then paying full price. That was just... adult books in Canada are stupid expensive, especially with it being a paper. Anyways, but yeah, so, yeah, I am super excited. Women's War was, like, blow away surprise, amazing book read for me, and with everything that happens at the end of it, with people picking sides and, like, the women being pushed to this new place and then making a well of magic to control it, I'm just very excited to see where that's gonna go. I'm also going to be picking up The Silence of Bones by June Her. This was one that I just, with everything that's happened, I was trying to get to earlier, but with everything that happened with my grandpa dying and all the travel and COVID and everything, it's just been a hot mess. I've just been reading kind of what's handy right in front of me right away, and that I knew that I was going to enjoy a lot of the time. But this is a murder mystery set in Joseon, Korea, and the author is Canadian-South Korean, and I got this arc at my conference, and it is signed by her. And this is her debut work, so I'm really excited to see more Canadian voices, but also Canadian people of color, because we have a really, when you look at our census, we have a variety of backgrounds in this country, and we just have a lot. The authors that do come out are just still a lot of white people. So I'd like to raise up those other voices. It would be wonderful if we could get someone like Rebecca Roanhorse, who's Canadian. There's lots of Indigenous people. Anyways, but I know the main character is supposed to, she gets involved in helping a detective who then becomes a suspect of, like, this murder, so then she has to, like, prove that he didn't do it or something like that. So it sounds awesome, and it sounds very dark. And I'm hoping I love it, and just to make sure I get to it this month, I'm going to probably do it at the beginning of the month, one of the first few books. I'm also going to be picking up Race the Sands by Sarah Beth Durst. I've been on hold. I was person number 4, something like that, on hold, and it's supposed to be coming to me this month. So I'm going to read it right away because there are people behind me, and I hate having it sit on my shelf for 3 weeks and then reading it the second last day, and then everyone else behind me had to wait that whole time. So yeah, I'm going to read it. I'm so excited. She's the author of the Queens of Larenthia series, and she has a bunch of other stuff that she's done that I've just never read. Queens of Larenthia was the first time I've really ever heard of her, so I've done my reread of that series. So I'm ready for Race the Sands, and the cover looks really cool, and I'm hoping I like it, and maybe I'll end up buying it. It's weird though, it's under, I think it's HarperCollins is the publisher, but it's an adult book, and they're default publishing it in paperback. There's no hardcover of it. I'm kind of surprised. I'm also going to be picking up Don't Call the Wolf by Alexandra Ross. I think this still comes, or did this already come out? I think this comes out in April or May. I'm not 100% sure, but I just really want to read it, okay? This was originally, like, I just slotted in because I was like, oh, you need to make sure you read an arc, because that's one of my things for myself every month is read an arc. So this was just in my list, and I've just been building my TBR around it. So, disappearing into the forest of shape-shifting queens, bone-chilling monsters, and delicious dark magic in this richly imagined YA fantasy debut. I am also just kind of like, she's Canadian. She grew up in Vancouver, BC, and went to medical school at the University of Alberta. Hi, I live in Alberta. I mean, I think that's probably the first time I've really been proud of anything about Alberta. Side note, Alberta's kind of, we're the trash of Canada, alright? Yeah. When the Golden Dragon descends into the castle of Kamina, this is definitely one I'm going to need the, audiobook for, because I know there's supposed to be Eastern European, influence. Oh yeah, a Polish fairy tale of the Glass Mountain. So, like, there's going to be some words thrown in there that I just can't do anything with. It brought with a horde of monsters. Ren, the youngest queen, is slowly losing her battle against them until she rescues Lucas. It's Lucas with a Z at the end. The last survivor of a heroic brigade of dragon slayers, and they strike a deal. She will help him with the youngest brother, who vanished into her forest, as long as he promises to slay the dragon. But promises are very easily broken. So this is, I have a good feeling about this one. And the author, okay, I do hate this though, because, like, she's not the only one. I see authors do this all the time. They're like, oh my god, I got my finished copy, and they just show the cover. I'm like, I already know what the cover looks like. Show me what the under dust jacket and the end pages look like, please. So I know if there's any special detailing, okay, please. That infuriates me to no end. Oh my god. I also really hope to pick up the Fascinators, and I had just by default ordered it for my libraries because I want to diversify our collection really, really badly, because it's a lot of, well, just in general, we don't have a lot of YA, but it's a lot of just cis, straight, white voices for the most part, who it's, like, blurbed as being, like, I think it's, like, supposed to be, like, The Raven Boys and something else, and it was both books that I was like, meh, like, I didn't burn the books, like, I didn't hate them, but they're not series that I continued on with, right? So, I'm not sure how that's gonna go, but I definitely want to at least try, because I love that cover so much, and it just sounds like gay magic. I want it, okay? I want to read it. And I think the last book that is on that game plan, at least, The Boy in the Red Dress by, I think it's Kristen Lambert. This is one of my most anticipated reads. I am very disappointed in the cover. It's a very basic cover. It doesn't look, you know, like, and also they haven't really done any marketing for it. When this, like, the blurbing of, like, what was what this book was came out, everyone was like, oh my god, that sounds amazing. And then they released the cover and everyone was like, oh. And then kind of, like, everyone I know was like, yeah, I'll read it. I'll get to it. Yeah, I'll get to it eventually. Like, a lot of the, well, I'm not going to buy it. The cover's nothing special. So I was like, oh, I'm so disappointed. But I just know that it's supposed to be, like, in, like, I think it's supposed to be in Chicago or in New York during, like, Prohibition. And, like, someone gets murdered and it's, like, there's a guy cross-dressing and, like, hence the boy in the red dress. And, like, the person who's investigating is trying to make sure because they're friends with him and they want to protect him. Something along those lines. It sounds like a cool murder mystery, but I really just, like, the cover is very basic. I was not particularly impressed with what they did with that cover, and I'm like, you could have made so much cool stuff with it and really hyped it up. This is something that, like, just the premise is very YA. Like, this is very trendy in YA premise right now. So, like, why wouldn't you do anything with it? So yeah, I will link all of these books in the description box down below. I will also link all of my social media. If you follow me, I will follow you back. Stay the fuck at home if you don't need to go out. Wash your hands. And I will see you people on Sunday for the wrap-up review weekly thing video.